Is reciprocity dead? That's the subject of the riff. So President Trump's announcement of a 25% global tariff on imports of automobiles and certain automobile parts is confusing. Now, I've been a strong supporter of what I thought was his reciprocal trade policy. You tax us, we'll tax you. If you tax us less, then we're going to have to drop our tariffs as well. Seems to me that's something that makes a lot of common sense and is easily understood by most everyone. But the global car tariff is not reciprocity. Actually, the President invoked Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of '62, which is a national security-related act. Now, I am all for foreign car makers to build more factories in the U.S., and I understand and support President Trump's longer-range effort to make America a more of a manufacturing economy that would certainly boost the wages of blue-collar workers. And I have no problem with tariff diplomacy. The question is, how do you do it in a way that people can understand? Economist Larry Lindsay writes that Trump trade policy is now, quote, more lenient than reciprocal. And that's what we can expect next Wednesday, April 2nd, when Mr. Trump calls Liberation Day. Now, here's what the president said yesterday about being lenient. Take a listen.
You said you're going to be more lenient than reciprocal next week?
I think there'll be, I think if I did to them what they did to us, I think a lot of people would be very unhappy. Yeah, I think it'll be much more lenient. I'm going to be much more lenient with regard to the tariffs that you'll see on April 2nd. I'm going to be much more lenient than they were with us. They were really bad with us. I tell you, they've treated us badly.
All right. The president is surely right that if foreign countries treat us so badly, the policy of reciprocal trade means we have to hit back by raising our tariff rates. But regarding the 25% tariff on cars, it seems like there's really no room for reciprocity. For example, there was a flurry of talk that the European Union was going to drop its car tariff from 12.5% down to 2.5%, which is our average car tariff. But now they'll have to face a 25% tariff. Here in North America, the White House fact sheet states that importers of autos under USMCA will be given the opportunity to certify their U.S. content, and systems will be implemented so that the 25% tariff will only apply to the value of their non-U.S. content, and USMCA-compliant auto parts will be left tariff-free until the Border Protection establishes a process to apply the tariffs to their non-U.S. content. Though I could be wrong, it seems to me that both sections on auto assembling and parts prematurely breaks up the whole USMCA trade agreement, which is not due to be reviewed until May of next year. In round numbers now, it's possible the global car tariff could bring in $100 billion, depending on the elasticities of consumer demand. So maybe that would be used to pay for some more tax cuts. That would be good. Meanwhile, the top domestic content car maker in the U.S. is Tesla, by far, with average U.S. domestic content of 81%. Number two is Honda, which in the past nearly 10 years has gone from 50% domestic content to 63%. Meanwhile, Ford and GM, on the other hand, well, they've gone from 65% and 66%, respectively, down to 54%, a considerable drop. Stellantis fallen even more, from 60% to 46%. So all these car makers, except maybe Tesla, have a tremendous amount of work to do if they're going to avoid a 25% tariff. My point is this. I'm all for reciprocity. I'm all for building up manufacturing. I'm not afraid of tariff diplomacy. Tax cuts and deregulation incentives, by the way, to build and buy American are roughly $7 trillion, so we really shouldn't obsess about relatively small tariffs. It's just that trade policy seems rather confused right now, and we seem to be losing the clarity of reciprocity. And that is the riff.